According to Jungian psychology, if the feminine energy in our psyche is suppressed or neglected, it directly affects our soul, making our life dull, stripping all the colors from our life, and it is already happening in our life. Now we are going to learn how we can use this feminine energy to nourish our soul and achieve psychological wellness based on analytical psychology. Before learning what actions we can take to integrate these energies in our psyche, whether you are a man or woman, first you must understand the 4 archetypes of feminine psyche and its shadow aspects. Carl Jung always connected masculine consciousness with the concept of logos and feminine consciousness with that of eros. And both men and women have both these masculine and feminine aspects in their psyche. A mother instinctively nourish, protect and cherish all that is undeveloped and need care and protection. Whether it's her baby, her sibling, her friend, her student, her community, or a movement with a higher purpose. And by doing this is how she find fulfillment in her life. Now, when a woman become conscious of this aspect in her psyche, she can either become a mother or choose a motherly profession to channel this energy. Now, mother archetype also have this shadow aspect. If a woman's ego is more dominant with mother archetype, she can become a overprotective mother who are still not confident in their child's strength and independence, which in a way interfere with the development of the child. We have already discussed a lot of videos about man-child, who even after 30 or 40 is still unable to take life's responsibility, still living under their parents' wings. Now the other shadow aspect is connected to her spouse, because her persona is dependent on the role of mother. And so her partner is also connected with this persona as the father of her children. For a mother, her core, her only priority is her family, which need her protection. So whenever her partner shows traits that are addition to this roles, like which may be related to his personal ambition or his personal purpose in life, she can see it as a threat to the family. So she might ignore or shun that part, which can affect that person, her partner's spiritual development. Now, on the opposite side of mother archetype lies Hetera. Now, the mother archetype was mainly focused on promoting and protecting her partner's position in the outer world. But the Hetera is interested in encouraging the development of her partner's inner life, his individual interests, inclinations, and his creative dreams. The Hetera's focus is foremost on the quality of her relationship. Her role is not just as a lover, but as someone who actively engages with her partner's inner world and thus help him to achieve his psychological wellness. Now, Hetera can form a very deep and intimate level of connection with a man, because in most cases, men project their anima, which is the feminine aspect, in a man, and shadow. Shadow means the unconscious, primal, socially unacceptable, often repressed aspects of his personality. So, this relationship is going to be much deeper for Hetera. Now, let's look at its shadow aspects. So, if a woman's ego is more dominant with Hetera archetype, 2 things may happen. First one is, if she overlooks the persona aspect of the man, her partner, this can bring the man to a point where he himself loses his clear vision of outer reality. He might be tempted by her to give up his profession and become a creative artist, and to divorce the marriage and to give up all his responsibilities, and it can completely ruin their life. Now the other aspect is, as you know, a Hetera, for her partner's dream, she may sacrifice her dreams completely, like she might get consumed by her relationship, where she give her everything, which can destroy her life. Now, the above two archetypes were personally related. Their most important relationship is with other people in her life. Now, the next two are impersonally related. Their most important relationship is not with people but with the collective. And the first one is the Amazon. The Amazon archetype represents a woman who is independent, self-reliant, and driven by personal achievements. Now, in an Amazon archetype, she will be excelling in career, whatever field it is, or she may be the wife who wears the pants at home and keeps their household and family under her military discipline. Her fulfillment comes from her own success. Now, like every archetypes, Amazon also have its shadow aspects. If a woman's ego is more dominant with Amazon archetype, she adopts a pure masculine approach to life, becoming rigid, suppressing her emotional connections and treating relationships just as a tools for her success. She risks losing patience with anything undeveloped, whether in herself or others, and may even exploit or use relationships for her personal gains. She can get consumed by her ambitions that she neglect her personal relationship with her children, husband, family, or relatives. She might even misuse human relationship for the sake of her career. This is the other impersonally related type. Ideal woman is immersed in the psychic atmosphere of her environment and in the collective unconscious, like seers, shamans, and mystics who channeled the unconscious forces of their time. Her fulfillment comes from serving as a vessel for these unconscious contents and translating them into consciousness and offering cultural insights, often acting as a bridge between the conscious world and the hidden psychic world. Now, let's talk about her shadow aspects. If she lacks the awareness and capacity to discriminate between what comes from within herself and what comes from the collective unconscious, instead of being a mediator, she can get carried away by the forces she doesn't fully understand. And she may start to project these unresolved contents onto others, which can lead to destructive relationships and personal turmoils. Now, let's learn how to integrate these in a woman and then how to do it in a man. So normally, a woman expresses the form that is mostly aligned with her natural character. Then, over time, a second structural form emerges itself, complementing the first one. Typically, it is not the direct opposite, but rather an adjacent one. For example, a mother might integrate the Amazon or medial woman. Now, as life progresses, a third form emerges, often connected to the second but carrying a more shadow-like or unconscious aspect that is harder to reconcile with the first form. Now, the final form is the most difficult to integrate, often representing a stark contrast to the woman's original character. Jung and Tony says that this form is expressed symbolically rather than concretely, and it leads to psychological totality. So, we must build our self-awareness and understand which archetype is playing dominant in our life. Also, become aware of the shadow aspect of that archetype, so your persona don't get too attached with it. Then, mindfully try to integrate other aspects slowly and intentionally explore and cultivate traits of other archetypes and thus try to find the balance. And if any of these archetypes are harder to embody in daily life, try to express them symbolically through creative works, ritual, and other methods. Now, in males, these feminine aspects can be seen in the unconscious in the form of anima. As the individual outwardly plays a strong man, he becomes inwardly a gentle woman. And in most cases, they project this anima onto woman, which cause a man to fall in love in the first sight, and in most cases start to fantasize about a woman even after their first meeting. And in our previous video, we have talked about the 4 stages of development of anima. Now, to integrate anima means making the unconscious content conscious. Artists do this by symbolically and creatively expressing them through their art. In Jungian psychology, we do this by dream work, and the other method is active imagination. This is done by personifying the anima as an autonomous personality, asking her questions and attending to the response, and thus understanding and integrate her into our psyche, which should be done very carefully, because what we are talking is about the unconscious energy system, and if we do that properly, she becomes our guide to the inner life. And in our next video, we will be learning how to do that. See you in the next video.